Good afternoon, students. So today we're in week 8, and I want to say congratulations for making it this far. And so for your week 8 forum, all you have to do is just to write more of what you did from week 7, because in week 7 we did the pre-writing for our comparison contrast essay. And so for pre-writing, that means that in week 7 we chose our topic for our comparison contrast essay. We wrote our outlines for the comparison contrast essay. And so in week 8, we're going to continue to work. In the week 8 forum, we're going to continue to work on the same essay and on the same outline. You're just going to write it out in more detail. And you're going to write a preliminary rough draft of your comparison contrast essay for the week 8 forum. And so you have the option of following the outline that I gave you in week 7, or you can write the alternate method or the block method. And so if you look through all of my feedback, that's what I've done, is that I've given you 3 different ways to write your essay based on what the feedback I gave in week 7, that's the ChatGPT outline, or the block method, or the alternate method. All 3 methods are great ways to write your essay. For the week 8 assignment, then you just fill out the worksheet, which helps you understand how to write an outline and helps you fill out more what you're going to write about for your essay. So basically, the week 7 forum, week 8 forum, and the week 8 assignments are all interchangeable. They're all about writing outlines, figuring out what you're going to write for your topic, and then in week 11, because we're not going to work on this comparison contrast essay, we're going to take a break. We're going to come back to the comparison contrast essay in week 11, where you're going to write your rough draft of the comparison contrast essay into the week 11 forum. And then in week 12, you will hand in your final draft. So for these 2 weeks, week 7 and 8, it's pretty much the same. It's just like when we did the description in week 3 and 4, where all we did in week 3 was the food game, and then in week 4 we wrote more about ChatGPT. So basically, when we do the writing process, it's all about writing the same thing multiple times, so that each time you do a draft, you do it better and better. So let's review. What is the writing process? The writing process is just what it means. It's just what it says, a process. And each time you write a draft, your draft gets better and better because I give you feedback, other students give you feedback, and then you incorporate that feedback to make your essay better and better. And you can also, in addition, as we go through the various drafts of our essay, I'm also teaching you how you can use AI to improve your idea generation and your essay revision. And so everything is just a process. So the 3 stages of the writing process is as follows. You have pre-writing, where we do a lot of our free writing, where we do our outlining. Then you have writing, where you transfer from the outline into a 5-paragraph essay. And when we do the writing, then we don't do any more free writing. And so in the week 8 forum, we are filling out more our outlines. We're not doing free writing anymore. We're simply doing outlines or rough drafts. And then in week 11, preliminary rough drafts. And then in week 11, you will write out your whole rough draft based on all of the feedback you got in week 7 forum, week 8 forum, and your week 8 outline. And based on those 3 assignments, then you're going to incorporate all the feedback you got, and then you're going to write your week 11 rough draft. And that week 11 rough draft should be pretty finished, because you're just going to turn that in week 12. And we'll just look it over one last time. And by the time you get to the week 11 forum, you're going to know this essay like the back of your hand, because you'd have written it so many times. And so that's one of the great things about the writing process, because you get to rewrite it many, many times. And each time you rewrite it, the essay gets better and better. Now, the reason why you're not going to be doing the comparison contrast essay into week 11 is that because in week 9 and 10, we're going to be doing another essay. In week 9, you're going to be doing the persuasive essay. So in week 9, that's looking ahead to next week, and week 9 and 10, you're going to work on persuasive essay and APA. So we're going to take a break from the comparison contrast essay for the next 2 weeks. What is a persuasive essay? Well, in a persuasive essay, we want to convince the reader of our point of view. And so when you write your week 9 forum, you're going to go to the procon.org website to find an essay topic for your persuasive essay. And so I've done an entire lecture already on what is a persuasive essay. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that video into your announcements. And so you can watch that 1-hour video where I talk about what is a persuasive essay, how do you write a persuasive essay, where do you find good essay topics for your persuasive essay. So I go through everything in excruciating detail in that week 9. Also, another way of doing it is you can go to the Professor H writing channel and look up week 9 instructor session. And that will teach you everything you ever want to know about what is a persuasive essay. So just in a couple of sentences or a couple of seconds, a persuasive essay convinces the reader of your point of view. And so what is the difference between comparison contrast essay, which is what we're doing right now, and a persuasive essay? Well, in a persuasive essay, you're not really going to focus on comparing, contrasting two things. Instead, you have an issue, such as gun control. And in your thesis statement, you're going to take a stance. You're going to take a side. You're going to take a position. And you're going to convince me your position is the right position. So let's say I take an issue like gun control. And so I am for gun control. Okay, so first you have to decide if you're for gun control or against gun control. And you do that by looking through all the articles. You do some reading, do some research. So the first thing you do in the pre-writing stage of the persuasive essay for week 9 is that you decide on what side am I on. So let's say I decide I'm for gun control. Then you have to find 3 reasons why you are for gun control. And that's where ChatGPT comes in, because ChatGPT is great for idea generation. So you go to ChatGPT, you put in the prompt, what are three ways why gun control is needed? 3 reasons for gun control. And then it will give you 3 different reasons. And then you can use those 3 reasons for the body paragraphs of your persuasive essay. So for instance, your thesis statement, which is the main idea of your essay, where you state your stance, your position, would be something like topic, opinion, reasons, TOR. So gun control, topic, is necessary, opinion, because. Then you find those 3 reasons from your ChatGPT prompt, 3 reasons why gun control is necessary. That will be your prompt for ChatGPT. Then you find your 3 reasons, and then paragraph 2 will be reason 1, paragraph 3 will be reason 2, and paragraph 4 will be reason 3, and then paragraph 5 will be your conclusion. And then don't forget that just like for your comparison contrast essay, your thesis statement is always the last sentence of the introduction and the first sentence of the conclusion. And so that goes for any essay that you write. And then for your week 9 forum, you'll just write me an outline of your persuasive essay. And then in the week 10 forum, you will write the complete 5-paragraph persuasive essay. And then you're going to include APA. Okay, here you're going to include APA to back up your reasons, because when you use outside sources to corroborate what you say, it makes your essay much more plausible, much more credible. And so in each body paragraph of your persuasive essay, you will include 1 APA in-text citation. And we always cite our sources if we use any kind of numbers, historical facts, medical facts, scientific facts, any kind of unknown knowledge. And there are 2 kinds of APA in-text citations. In-text citations always go inside the body of your essay. And so 2 kinds of APA in-text citations are you have the direct quote where you cite verbatim the source, exactly what the source says. Then you have to use quotation marks, and then you put in the author, the date, and the page number. Second kind of in-text citation is the paraphrase quote. In a paraphrase quote, you paraphrase or summarize the source. And then if you summarize the source in your own words, you don't need to have a quotation mark, and you don't need a page number. You just need to have the author's name and the date. Then after the last page of your paper, you're going to write in your references. And so that your references should match the in-text citations in your body paragraphs. Each body paragraph should have one in-text citation, and you're going to follow PI structure. P stands for the main point from the thesis. I stands for the in-text citation. E stands for an explanation of that in-text citation in 5 sentences. And each paragraph will be 5 to 7 sentences. So that pretty much wraps up a persuasive essay in a nutshell. There are different kinds of persuasive essays, but you're going to be doing mainly the first one, which is a position paper, where you take a position and then you back up that position with credible evidence, and your body paragraphs back up whatever claim you make. And so whenever we make any kind of claim in English, we always have to back up our claim with credible evidence so that readers know you didn't just make it up off the top of your head. And we use APA to make sure that we don't steal other people's information. And so you can and another thing is you can use ChatGPT for idea generation and for essay revision, but you cannot use ChatGPT to find sources for your paper. So if you're in other classes, you still need to find your sources by going to the library or using Google Scholar, because ChatGPT has been known to hallucinate its sources. Hallucinate, what does that mean? It means that AI makes up its sources. Whenever AI can't find enough information on the web about a topic, then it will create it and make it up off the top of its head. Hence the word hallucination. That's why whatever output you get from ChatGPT, you still have to fact check to make sure that those facts are real and it's not made up. And also, if you do use sources from ChatGPT, which I don't advise you do, but let's say you do, then you've got to make sure those sources actually exist. And then you still have to fact check each source to make sure those sources exist. Because in the real world, let's say you're a lawyer, and I told this story many times to my students, and you've heard it many times. Let's say you're a lawyer and you take all your sources from ChatGPT, and if ChatGPT makes up those sources, and then the other lawyers use your paper and try to look up those sources to see if they're real, and find out that those sources are all imaginary, you can lose your license as a lawyer. So in the real world, using fake sources has real world consequences. For instance, your research paper will get retracted from the journal. You lose your job as a professor because everybody thinks that you're plagiarizing and you can't be trusted. And so therefore, in the real world, we don't use the sources that AI provides. You still got to go to the library, find the source yourself. And so Google Scholar is a great place to find sources. And so how do you find good sources? You always want to find peer-reviewed sources. What is a peer-reviewed source? So that a peer-reviewed source is a source that's been reviewed by other people. Just like we peer review each other's papers. When we look at each other's papers, we make each other's papers better. And so for instance, I remember I was writing an article for for a teaching journal, and so it has to go through a big process, long process, where first, after I submit my article to the journal, and then another reader will read my article to fact check, to make sure that my article is accurate. Then when that reader approves of my journal or of my scientific article, then it gets published in the journal. And so that's why a peer-reviewed article is more credible than, say, National Enquirer or whatever you read at the grocery store. So those magazines that you read at the grocery store, those are known as popular sources. Whereas the abstracts that you read on Google Scholar, those are known as scholarly sources. So you always should tend to go to the scholarly sources to do your research. So if you're doing research and you read an article, you don't understand what it says, you can always cut and paste the article into ChatGPT. Then ask ChatGPT to explain or rewrite the article in easy to understand English as if you're a second grader or as if you're 11th grader. That would be the prompt. Then ChatGPT will rewrite the article in easier English for you to understand. And so in this case, if you're looking through Google Scholar and you don't understand what the abstract says, you can cut and paste the abstract into ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT to either summarize the summary in easy to understand English. So that's one of the good things that you can trust ChatGPT. It's very good at simplifying the English, so that if English is not your first language, you can use ChatGPT to help you understand difficult concepts, to simplify English, to brainstorm ideas, and for essay revision, but not for research sources. And so anyway, so that's pretty much my spiel for this week in using ChatGPT, your research, and your next essay. We'll come back to the comparison contrast essay in week 11. So I hope that you found this conversation or this video helpful. So this is your week 8 video. And then if you want to learn more about transition words, I'm going to post into the announcements my usual week 8 instructor session that I used to give, in which I go over all the different kinds of transition words you can use in your paper. ChatGPT, in my opinion, uses too many transition words, and it always uses the same ones. And so I advise you, if you don't want to sound like ChatGPT, avoid these transition words. Avoid using moreover. Avoid using additionally. And avoid using ultimately and overall, because ChatGPT uses those transition words over and over and over again from paragraph to paragraph to paragraph. So if you do use transition words, you have to use a variety of transition words, not the same transition words over and over again. And that's why sometimes ChatGPT sounds robotic. So even if you do use ChatGPT, you still need to go back to the ChatGPT output to humanize your output so you don't sound like a robot. Okay, and so that way there are many ways. I think that's going to be my next lecture, how to humanize ChatGPT output so you can sound like a human and not a robot. So that'll be the next video. So that's it for this video. And if you like this video, feel free to subscribe to the Professor H Writing channel. And if you have any questions, especially if you're running behind, or if you have a low grade in this class, please reach out to me. I'm always here to help you because that's my job. And then we can then schedule a one-on-one Zoom session in which I can help you. And also right now it's 4:30 p.m. Eastern on a Wednesday. Every week at this time, I'm here during my office hours. So you feel free to drop in and I can help you with your papers. I can help you catch up. And so I want to wish everyone a happy week 8. You have 4 more weeks left to this class. And so we're getting towards the end of this class. We're way past the middle. So congratulations on making it this far. And so if you have any questions, feel free to email me at any time. And this